Buying medicine for a millionaire disguised as a beggar, the next day luck came to the little girl. Maria, a 7-year-old girl, skipped happily on her way home after buying a few trinkets from the small store in town. As she passed by the gates of the large factory where her mother worked, Maria paused. In a secluded corner near the iron gate, an elderly man sat hunched over in ragged clothes. His pale face and sunken eyes were full of weariness. He tried to rise, but his trembling legs refused to obey. Why is he sitting there? Maria thought to herself, her eyes wide as she observed him. The man didn't seem to notice her, clutching his stomach as he shivered from the cold. A factory worker, a middle-aged woman with her hair tightly tied, walked briskly past without so much as a glance. Maria called out, "Ma'am, what's wrong with him?" The woman hesitated, then shook her head, whispering with a mix of pity and indifference, "He's just a beggar. Ignore him, dear." But Maria couldn't bring herself to leave. She approached the man cautiously and spoke in a gentle voice, "Sir, are you okay?" The man lifted his head, his eyes meeting Maria's innocent gaze. He nodded weakly, his voice hoarse. "Child, I just need something to eat. I'm so tired." Maria thought for a moment, then opened her bag of bread and pulled out a piece to offer him. The man's hands trembled as he took it and devoured it hungrily, as though he hadn't eaten in a long time. "Thank you, child. You're so kind," he said, his eyes glistening with gratitude. Maria smiled. "I'll go home and get some cold medicine for you. Please wait here. You have such a beautiful heart." "I won't forget this," the man said as Maria ran off. When she returned with a small bag of medicine and a bottle of water, the man was still sitting there. "You need to take this, it'll help you feel better," she said, handing him the medicine and water. Tears welled up in his eyes as he placed a trembling hand on Maria's head. "May God bless you, little one," he said. Maria beamed, her heart warm with joy. But deep in the man's eyes was a mysterious glimmer. The next morning, on her way to school, Maria passed the factory gates again. The sound of honking cars and the chatter of workers lining up for their shifts filled the small road. Suddenly, she stopped, her eyes widening at the sight of the man from the previous day. He was still in the same spot, wearing the same tattered clothes. "Mr. Raymond!" Maria exclaimed. Hearing her call, the old man lifted his head and managed a faint smile. "Hello, little kind one. We meet again." Maria smiled back as she walked over, set her bag down, and squatted in front of him. "Are you feeling better? I brought more bread." Mr. Raymond took the bread she offered, his eyes brimming with emotion. He murmured, "Thank you, you're an angel." Their conversation didn't last long before a cold, sharp voice cut through the air. "You again? Aren't you ashamed? Why are you sitting here tarnishing my company's image?" Maria turned abruptly. A tall woman in a pristine business suit stood there, her icy gaze fixed on Mr. Raymond. "Mrs. Isabel," a worker whispered, pulling Maria aside. "That's the factory manager. Stay away from her." But Maria stood her ground, looking up at Mrs. Isabel with innocent but resolute eyes. "Ma'am, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's just resting." Mrs. Isabel raised an eyebrow, her gaze sweeping over Maria with disdain. "Little girl, do you think you know better than adults? He's just a beggar, sitting here and ruining the company's reputation." Mr. Raymond spoke up in a raspy voice, "I don't mean to cause trouble. I'm just sitting here because I have nowhere else to go." "Then leave." Mrs. Isabel shouted, silencing the murmurs of nearby workers, who avoided eye contact for fear of being implicated. Maria clenched her fists, her eyes brimming with tears. "But he didn't do anything wrong. Why are you treating him so poorly?" Mrs. Isabel let out a mocking laugh. "Little girl, life isn't as simple as you think. Stop meddling in things you don't understand." Maria refused to back down. My mom always says we should help others when we can. Her words deeply moved Mr. Raymond. Slowly, he reached into the pocket of his worn coat and pulled out an old but gleaming ring. He placed it in Maria's hand. "Little one, you are the kindest soul I've ever met. This ring is a keepsake of mine. I now give it to you. Keep it safe, it will bring you luck." Maria looked at the ring, confused. "But I can't take this. It's important to you." "Please, take it," Mr. Raymond insisted, his eyes filled with gratitude. "I have nothing else to give you." Maria hesitated before nodding. "Then I'll take good care of it." Mrs. Isabel interrupted, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Finished? If so, both of you, leave. Take your nonsense elsewhere." Mr. Raymond quietly stood, his eyes full of sorrow, and shuffled away from the factory gates. Maria watched him go, her heart heavy. Before disappearing from sight, he turned and smiled at her. "Thank you, Maria. You are a light in my life." When his figure was gone, Mrs. Isabel turned to the workers and bellowed, "If anyone dares to help him again, don't say I didn't warn you." Maria lowered her head, her small hand clutching the ring tightly, her thoughts consumed by Mr. Raymond and the injustice he had faced. That afternoon, Maria returned home, still burdened by what had happened. She entered their modest room, where her mother, Anna, was hunched over an old sewing machine. The rhythmic clatter stopped as Anna looked up, noticing the sadness in her daughter's eyes. "What's wrong, my dear? Who upset you?" Anna asked, placing her calloused hands on Maria's shoulders. Maria hesitated, then recounted everything, Mr. Raymond, how she had helped him, and the ring he had given her. When she finished, Anna's face showed a trace of concern. "Maria, I'm proud of you for helping someone in need, but accepting things from strangers isn't safe. Do you understand?" "But he was so kind, Mom. He looked so tired and lonely," Maria replied, opening her small hand to reveal the old ring. "He said this ring would bring me luck." Anna sighed, taking the ring to examine it. It didn't appear valuable, just a simple silver ring, but it seemed intricately crafted. "Maybe he truly appreciated your kindness, but you still have to be cautious. Don't tell anyone about this, especially at the factory. I don't want people gossiping." Maria nodded. She carefully hid the ring in a small box in the corner of her cupboard, but her thoughts lingered on Mr. Raymond. The next day, rumors spread through the factory about a large sum of money anonymously sent to Maria's family. During lunch, some workers whispered among themselves, casting curious glances at Anna as she entered the cafeteria. "I heard someone sent a fortune to Anna's family," a woman whispered, her voice just loud enough for everyone to hear. "Really? It's probably dirty money from somewhere," a man chimed in, his expression full of skepticism. Anna overheard these whispers, a sense of unease welling up inside her. She didn't know what they were talking about, but the silence that followed as she walked past only made her more anxious. At the end of the workday, Mrs. Isabel appeared with an even colder demeanor than usual. Standing before the workers, her sharp voice rang out. "Ladies and gentlemen, I've received a report about a suspiciously large sum of money connected to one of our employees. I want to get to the bottom of this right now. Who among you is involved with this money?" No one answered, but slowly, all eyes turned to Anna. "Anna," Mrs. Isabel called her name sharply. "I heard this money was sent to your family. Is that true?" Anna's face turned pale as she stammered, "I don't know what you're talking about, Mrs. Isabel. I haven't received any money." "Really? Rumors don't start from nothing. Someone saw money being delivered to your home. Deny it all you want, but you can't hide the truth," Mrs. Isabel said, her tone laced with disdain. "But I truly have no knowledge of this money," Anna said, her voice trembling. Mrs. Isabel sneered, her expression mocking. "Then how do you explain your daughter frequently talking to a suspicious man near the factory gates? Perhaps the two of you have conspired to do something dishonest. Maria, hiding behind the office door, burst into tears when she heard those words. She felt helpless as her mother was accused and couldn't defend herself. That evening, Anna returned home with an exhausted look on her face. Maria ran to her and hugged her tightly, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know this would happen. I just wanted to help him." Maria sobbed. Anna sat down and hugged her daughter. "It's not your fault, Maria. I know you only wanted to do something good. But we must be careful. Sometimes, kindness makes people suspicious." "Mom, how can we prove that you haven't done anything wrong?" Maria asked, her eyes filled with worry. Anna remained silent for a long moment, then sighed. "I don't know, sweetheart. But we have to stay strong and wait for the truth to come out." Maria nodded, but her heart was still heavy with worry. The next morning, as Maria arrived at school, she noticed that the rumors had spread further. Some of her classmates looked at her with scornful eyes. "I heard your family stole money from the factory, is that true?" an older boy said loudly, his voice dripping with mockery. "It's not true. My family didn't do anything wrong," Maria shouted, tears welling up in her eyes. But the mocking laughter continued around her. Maria turned and ran away, feeling deeply ashamed and alone. What she didn't know was that at home, Anna was also facing suspicious looks and whispers behind her back from neighbors and co-workers. The atmosphere in the factory that day was heavier than ever. Maria had endured ridicule from her classmates, but she couldn't imagine that her mother was dealing with even greater tension. As Anna entered the workspace, she immediately noticed the prying eyes of her colleagues. Some whispered among themselves, pointing fingers at her. They didn't bother to hide their suspicion, as if they had already decided that her family was involved in the rumored money. "Anna, I need to see you in my office," Mrs. Isabel's commanding voice echoed from the hallway, cold and authoritative. Anna swallowed hard, a feeling of dread washing over her. She stepped into the manager's office, where Mrs. Isabel sat waiting with a piercing gaze. "Sit down," Mrs. Isabel ordered, pointing to the chair in front of her. Anna tried to stay calm, but the tone in Mrs. Isabel's voice made her tremble. "Do you know why I called you in here?" "Ma'am, I truly don't," Anna replied softly. Mrs. Isabel crossed her arms, leaning forward. "I don't want to repeat myself. Be honest, where did the money sent to your home come from?" Anna shook her head, her eyes pleading. "I've already told you, ma'am, I haven't received any money. My family has done nothing wrong." "Nothing wrong? Do you think I'll believe that excuse?" Mrs. Isabel scoffed, her lips curling into a derisive smirk. "Do you think a beggar like the man at the factory gates just happens to show up and somehow gets connected to your family? He's just a homeless man in need of help. My daughter gave him some food, that's all." "That's all?" Mrs. Isabel raised an eyebrow. "Do you expect me to believe that this man simply gave your daughter a ring out of the kindness of his heart? And now, with rumors of a mysterious sum of money, you're saying it's all just a coincidence?" Anna clenched her hands tightly, trying to keep her voice steady. "I don't know anything about this money. I don't understand why people are suspicious of my family." Mrs. Isabel slammed her hand on the desk, her voice rising. "Do you think I'm stupid, Anna? Do you think I'll let this go? If you don't confess right now, I'll report this to the police for investigation. And you know what that will lead to." The threats left Anna speechless. She wanted to fight back, but she had no evidence to prove her innocence. Meanwhile, Maria was at school, also unable to escape the rumors. She sat in the corner of her classroom, her eyes red as she fought back tears. A group of classmates stood near her desk, whispering just loud enough for her to hear. "Do you think Maria's family really stole the money?" "I think so. Didn't you hear what people are saying? A large sum of money just showing up. That's definitely suspicious." Maria jumped up, her eyes blazing with anger. My family didn't steal anything. You don't know anything. But instead of stopping, the group laughed even louder. Oh, so you're the one who knows everything, huh? Or maybe you're part of it too. Maria couldn't take it anymore. She ran out of the classroom, tears streaming down her face. That evening, when Maria returned home, she saw her mother sitting at the dining table, her face filled with exhaustion and pain. Maria approached and hugged her. Mom, I'm sorry, Maria whispered. I didn't know things would get this bad. Anna stroked her daughter's head but said nothing. Mom, what can we do to prove we're innocent? Maria asked, her voice choked with emotion. My dear, I don't know. All we can do is wait for the truth to come out. But I'm afraid people like Mrs. Isabel won't let things go so easily. Maria stayed silent, her tear-filled eyes glancing at the small box on the table, the one where she had hidden the ring Mr. Raymond had given her. An idea began to form in her mind. Mom, if Mr. Raymond comes back, do you think he can help us explain everything? Maria asked, her eyes lighting up with hope. Anna shook her head. He's a stranger, Maria. We can't rely on him. This is beyond our control now. Maria lowered her head, guilt and helplessness filling her heart. She didn't know that at that very moment, rumors about her family were spreading further, and Mrs. Isabel was far from done. The next morning, Mrs. Isabel called an unexpected meeting for all factory workers. Standing in the center of the large room, her authoritative voice echoed. I will not allow this factory to become a haven for dishonesty. If no one dares to admit to anything, I will investigate this matter myself. Her eyes swept over the crowd and stopped at Anna. Anna, what do you think if I request the police to search your home? Anna felt as if the ground had been pulled out from under her. All she could think about was Maria and the fear that their peaceful life might be destroyed forever. The meeting ended in tense silence, but Mrs. Isabel's words hung like a dark cloud over Anna's family. As everyone dispersed, a few workers approached Anna, their expressions full of suspicion and curiosity. Anna, about that money. Is it true? An older woman asked, her voice gentle but full of implication. Yes, we heard someone saw a package of money delivered to your house. Stop hiding it, a man added, his eyes sharp. I've already told you, I don't know anything about that money. My family hasn't done anything wrong. Anna replied, her voice trembling, feeling as though all her explanations were falling on deaf ears. Then why is your daughter always talking to that beggar? Is he your accomplice? Another worker sneered. Enough. Anna shouted, her eyes red with tears. You have no right to insult my daughter. We haven't done anything wrong. The crowd fell silent, but the suspicious glances didn't fade. Anna turned and walked away, overwhelmed with helplessness and humiliation. At school, Maria was also enduring a long, miserable day. The whispers among her classmates hadn't subsided, if anything, they'd grown crueler. During recess, she sat curled up in a corner of the schoolyard, trying to hold back her tears. A group of kids approached, led by Charles, a boy a year older than Maria and known for being a bully. Hey, Maria, I heard your family got rich by stealing, huh? Charles said loudly, his voice dripping with mockery. It's not true. My family didn't do anything wrong. Maria shouted, but her voice wavered, weak. Charles laughed, joined by the others in his group. Oh yeah? Then why is your mom accused of stealing money? She must have taught you well. Charles's words felt like a dagger to Maria's heart. She burst into tears, but the mocking laughter continued. You're so cruel, a voice rang out, cutting through the laughter. The group turned to see Lucy, a classmate of Maria's, stepping forward with an angry expression. You don't know anything, so stop spreading lies. Leave Maria alone. Lucy said firmly, pulling Maria by the hand. Come on, Maria. Don't pay attention to them. Maria wiped her tears and quietly followed Lucy. Although she was grateful to her friend, she couldn't shake the deep sense of humiliation weighing on her. That evening, Maria and her mother sat silently in their small kitchen. Their meal was a simple bowl of soup, but Maria had no appetite. "Mom, I think we should find Mr. Raymond. If he could explain everything, maybe you wouldn't be suspected anymore," Maria said, breaking the silence. "My dear, I don't know if he can help. But I can't just sit here and do nothing anymore," Anna said, her eyes filled with determination. "I'll go see Mrs. Isabel tomorrow. I need to clear this up." "But Mom, she won't believe you. She hates you," Maria said, her voice trembling. "I don't have any other choice, Maria. We can't live in fear forever." Maria didn't know what else to say. It felt as though everything around her was falling apart, and the worst part was that no one wanted to listen to the truth. The next morning, Anna arrived at the factory earlier than usual, determined to confront Mrs. Isabel. When she entered the office, she found the manager sitting at her desk, her gaze as cold as ever. "Anna, what are you doing here?" "I didn't summon you," Mrs. Isabel said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "I came to address the rumors that have been spreading," Anna said, trying to stay calm. Mrs. Isabel raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? I'm listening. How do you plan to explain the money?" "I haven't received any money. I don't know who started these rumors, but they're not true," Anna said firmly. "Do you think I'll believe you just because of this empty defense?" Mrs. Isabel scoffed. "You didn't receive it? Then why do so many people say they saw money delivered to your house?" Anna felt her heart tighten, but before she could respond, a voice spoke up from the crowd. "Mrs. Isabel, if Anna says she didn't receive the money, maybe we should investigate thoroughly before accusing anyone," said Paul, an older worker who had worked alongside Anna for years. Mrs. Isabel turned, her gaze sharp as a blade. "Paul, do you think I'm not doing my job? I'm not accusing anyone without reason. I'm protecting this factory's reputation." "But what you're doing isn't protecting the reputation, it's destroying Anna's dignity," Paul replied calmly but resolutely. Paul's words caused a stir among the crowd. A few workers began to speak up. "That's right. If she hasn't done anything wrong, why are we forcing her to prove herself?" "But what if she really is involved?" another person countered. Mrs. Isabel raised her hand, signaling for silence. "Enough. We are not here to argue. Anna, if you cannot provide evidence of your innocence, I will have no choice but to call the police." The threat felt like a dagger to Anna's heart. She felt her legs weaken, but she managed to stand firm. "I have done nothing wrong, and I am prepared to face any investigation," she said, her voice trembling but resolute. At the same time, Maria sat curled up in a corner of the schoolyard, once again mocked by her classmates. She tried not to cry, but her heart was heavy with worry about what her mother was facing. Lucy approached her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Maria, are you okay? Don't be sad, everything will be fine." "But no one believes my mom, Lucy. Everyone thinks she stole the money." "I don't know how to help her," Maria replied. Lucy thought for a moment, then said, "Maybe you should find that man, Mr. Raymond. If he's connected to the money, he might be able to help your mom. But I don't know where he is. I've searched around the factory gate several times, but I haven't seen him again," Maria said sadly. "We'll find another way. Don't worry, Maria. I'll help you," Lucy said, her eyes full of determination. That evening, when Anna returned home, Maria told her about Lucy's suggestion. "Mom, we need to find Mr. Raymond. Only he can clear everything up," Maria pleaded. Anna was silent for a moment, then sighed. "I've thought about that too, Maria. But it's like he's disappeared. We know nothing about him except his name and the ring he gave you." Maria lowered her head, disappointment washing over her. But then, her eyes lit up with an idea. "The ring. Mom, if Mr. Raymond said this ring is important, maybe it means something. Could we find a clue from it? Anna looked at the ring Maria pulled out of its small box. She held it up, turning it under the light, but saw nothing unusual beyond its simple beauty. I don't know, Maria. But if there's a chance, I'll try to find out. For now, all we can do is hope. The next morning, Mrs. Isabel summoned Anna to her office again. This time, the manager no longer masked her anger. I've given you time, but you've done nothing to prove your innocence. Do you think I'll wait forever? Ma'am, I've made it clear. I haven't received any money, and I'm ready to cooperate with any investigation, Anna replied firmly. Mrs. Isabel stood up, slamming her hand on the desk. Fine. If that's what you want, I'll do it your way. I'm calling the police immediately. They will investigate not just you but your entire family. The declaration felt like a crushing blow to Anna. She felt as though the world was spinning, but there was nothing she could do. At home, Maria sat on her bed, clutching the ring in her hands, praying fervently. She didn't know that everything had reached a dangerous tipping point. That night, while Maria was sound asleep, Anna sat in the dimly lit living room, turning the ring over and over in her hands. Under the faint yellow light of the lamp, she wondered if this ring might hold the key to unraveling everything. The cold wind outside the window was a stark reminder of how precarious their lives had become. Just as Anna was lost in thought, she heard a soft knock at the door. She jumped up, her heart racing. Who could be visiting at this hour? She opened the door, and her eyes widened in shock at the sight of the man standing before her, Mr. Raymond. But this time, he no longer looked like a destitute beggar. Before her stood a tall, dignified man, his demeanor commanding yet kind. Mr. Raymond? Anna stammered, unable to believe her eyes. Good evening, Mrs. Anna, he said in a warm, steady voice. I'm sorry to come at this hour, but I believe it's time to set things right. Anna invited him inside, her mind swirling with confusion and apprehension. Maria, awakened by the voices, ran out to the living room and cried out in delight when she saw him. Mr. Raymond! I knew you'd come back! Maria exclaimed, running to hug him, her eyes bright with relief. Mr. Raymond smiled, patting her head. Thank you for believing in me, Maria. And now, I'm here to help your family. Anna sat down across from him. Mr. Raymond, who are you? And why are you here now? Mr. Raymond removed his long coat, placing it neatly on the chair, and spoke slowly. Mrs. Anna, I owe your family an explanation. In truth, I am not a beggar, as everyone thinks. I am the owner of the factory where you work. Both Anna and Maria gasped in disbelief. You're the factory's director? Anna asked, her voice trembling. Yes, he nodded. I disguised myself as a beggar to observe how people treat those who are vulnerable. And Maria, your daughter, was the only one who treated me with kindness and sincerity. Maria looked at him, her eyes filled with curiosity. Then, what about this ring? Did you give it to me as a test? Mr. Raymond smiled and shook his head. No, Maria. This ring is a family heirloom. I gave it to you not as a test but as a symbol of your compassion. Anna was still reeling from the revelation. But, what about the money? Why are people saying my family received a large sum? Mr. Raymond nodded, his expression turning serious. That money was a gift I sent to your family to thank Maria for her kindness. But I didn't expect it to lead to such baseless accusations. Mrs. Isabel has taken advantage of this situation to benefit herself and oppress you. Hearing Mrs. Isabel's name, Anna clenched her fists. She's done everything she can to destroy my reputation and my family's honor. She even threatened to call the police. Mr. Raymond nodded. I've heard what she's done. Don't worry, I'm here to resolve everything. Tomorrow morning, I'll confront Mrs. Isabel in front of everyone. The next morning, at the factory, Mrs. Isabel called an emergency meeting, confident that Anna had no way to fight back. She stood before the crowd of workers, her voice cold and sharp. "Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to announce the preliminary results of our investigation. I have confirmed that Anna's family is connected to this mysterious sum of money. We cannot tolerate such behavior." The crowd began murmuring, their skeptical eyes turning toward Anna, who stood in a corner of the room, pale-faced. Maria clung to her mother's hand, her eyes red with tears. But before Mrs. Isabel could continue, a deep, steady voice interrupted her. "Excuse me for interrupting, but I believe I have something to say." All eyes turned toward the door, where Mr. Raymond entered, his dignified and commanding presence a stark contrast to his former disguise. The room fell silent. "The director," one worker exclaimed, their eyes wide with shock. Mrs. Isabel's face turned pale, and she took a step back. "Sir, what are you doing here?" "I'm here to uncover the truth," Mr. Raymond said, his voice firm and authoritative. "And to ensure that no one in this factory is treated unfairly ever again." The atmosphere in the meeting room grew tense as Mr. Raymond stepped forward, his commanding presence holding everyone's attention. Mrs. Isabel, standing near the podium, tried to mask her unease, but the nervous flicker in her eyes betrayed her. "Director, you came without prior notice. What brings you here?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Mr. Raymond moved closer, his sharp gaze fixed on her. "I'm here to address the matter of the money you've been using as a tool to accuse others unjustly." The crowd of workers held their breath, their eyes glued to him. Anna, standing in a corner of the room, looked on in astonishment. Maria clung tightly to her mother's hand, her eyes filled with hope. Mr. Raymond glanced around the room before speaking, his deep voice steady but commanding. "I want everyone here to know the truth. The money Anna's family received was a gift from me, given to thank her daughter Maria for her kindness. She helped me when I disguised myself as a beggar outside the factory gates." The room erupted in murmurs of surprise. Whispers filled the air, blending astonishment with a sense of shame. "Disguised? The director disguised himself as a beggar," one worker exclaimed, their eyes wide in disbelief. "That's correct," Mr. Raymond confirmed, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "I wanted to see firsthand how people treat those who are less fortunate. And it was Maria, with her compassionate heart, who moved me deeply. She was the only one among you who stopped to help me." All eyes turned to Maria, who was now hiding shyly behind her mother. She felt both embarrassed and a small sense of pride. Mrs. Isabel's face turned pale as she struggled to maintain her composure. "Director, I didn't know you had done such a thing. But the money. Sending it without notifying anyone seemed suspicious to me." "Suspicious?" Mr. Raymond's lips curled into a faint, cold smile. "Suspicious enough for you to pocket it for yourself?" The room fell silent, the air thick with tension. Mr. Raymond stepped closer to Mrs. Isabel, his voice steady but cutting. "You are a dishonest person." "Director, I..." Mrs. Isabel stammered, unable to meet his gaze. She tried to defend herself. "But director, I've always acted in the best interests of the factory. I never intended to..." "Enough." Mr. Raymond interrupted, his voice sharp and final. "I've heard enough. You've crossed the line. As of today, you are fired. I will personally oversee the management of this factory to ensure that no worker here is ever treated unfairly again." The room erupted into loud applause. Workers cheered, their pent-up fear and tension melting away. Mrs. Isabel stood frozen, her face ashen. She didn't utter another word, simply bowing her head and leaving the room, knowing she had no defense left. After the meeting concluded, Mr. Raymond approached Anna and Maria. He knelt down slightly, placing a hand on Maria's shoulder, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Maria, you've taught me a very important lesson. You reminded me that kindness is one of the most precious virtues. Maria smiled, her eyes glistening. I was just doing what my mom taught me, Mr. Raymond. Mr. Raymond turned to Anna. Mrs. Anna, on behalf of the factory, I want to apologize for everything you've endured. I promise nothing like this will ever happen again. Anna was overcome with emotion, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Director Mr. Raymond. I don't know how to express my gratitude. There's no need to thank me, Mr. Raymond said gently. I'm simply doing what's right. And I believe that from now on, your family will no longer face any injustice. That afternoon, Anna and Maria returned home, their hearts light and filled with happiness. The entire town began talking about what had happened at the factory, and Maria's story became an inspiration, a tale of kindness and sincerity. But the story didn't end there. Mr. Raymond had another surprise in store for Anna's family. The next morning, he personally summoned Anna to his office. Her heart pounded as she walked down the hallway, all eyes on her. This time, however, there were no looks of suspicion or judgment. Instead, there was admiration and curiosity. She knocked lightly on Mr. Raymond's office door and heard his voice inviting her in. When she entered, she saw him seated in a large armchair, surrounded by neatly organized stacks of documents. But the warm smile on his face instantly put her at ease. Good morning, Mrs. Anna. Please, have a seat, Mr. Raymond said, gesturing to the chair in front of his desk. Thank you, Anna replied softly, trying to remain calm. Mr. Raymond looked at her kindly. Mrs. Anna, I've thought a lot about what has happened. You've endured so much injustice, and I want to make amends for the hardships you and Maria have faced. Anna lifted her gaze, her expression uncertain. Director, I truly don't expect anything more. Just being able to continue working here is more than enough for me. Mr. Raymond shook his head. No, it's not enough. I reviewed your work records and found that you are a diligent and dedicated worker. So, starting today, I want to offer you a position that better matches your skills. Anna's eyes widened in disbelief. Director, you mean? You will work in the production management office, overseeing and coordinating orders, he explained calmly. The job is not only less physically demanding but also comes with a higher salary to ensure a better life for your family. Anna could hardly believe her ears. Director, I don't know what to say. This is more than I ever dreamed of. You deserve it, Mrs. Anna, Mr. Raymond said firmly. Everything you've gone through has proven that you're trustworthy, and I believe you'll excel in this role. Anna bowed her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. Thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Don't thank me, Mrs. Anna, Mr. Raymond replied with a smile. Thank Maria. If it weren't for her kindness, I might never have known about you or your family's story. Anna wiped her tears, her heart brimming with gratitude. Maria will be so happy to hear this. Thank you so much. Mr. Raymond smiled warmly, his gaze reassuring. After a brief pause, he added gently. Mrs. Anna, I believe Maria is a remarkable child with a kind heart and great potential. I don't want her kindness to be hindered by life's hardships. That's why I've decided to sponsor all of Maria's educational expenses until she completes university. Anna was stunned. She looked up at him, unable to hide her emotion. Director, I don't know how to thank you enough. You've already done so much for us. Mrs. Anna, Mr. Raymond continued, his voice steady and warm, in life, not everyone has the chance to meet someone like Maria. She reminded me of the importance of kindness. This isn't charity, it's my way of honoring your family. Maria, who had been eavesdropping from outside the door, hesitated before stepping inside. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and shyness. Mr. Raymond, will you really help me go to school? Mr. Raymond smiled, kneeling slightly to meet her eye level. Yes, Maria. You're a very special girl. I believe you can achieve wonderful things if given the opportunity. Maria ran to him and hugged him tightly, her voice filled with emotion. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. I'll study hard, I promise. Mr. Raymond stroked Maria's hair, his gentle smile never leaving his face. Just do what you love, Maria. Your future will be bright. That evening, when they returned home, Anna recounted everything to Maria. The small room seemed to glow with warmth and happiness. Maria listened intently to her mother, her eyes sparkling like stars. Mom, Mr. Raymond is so kind. I never thought my small act of kindness could change our lives like this, Maria whispered, her voice filled with gratitude. That's right, my dear, Anna said, hugging her daughter tightly. You've taught me that kindness always brings miracles, even in the hardest times. Maria nodded, her heart brimming with hope. She wasn't just thinking about her studies, she dreamed of one day becoming someone like Mr. Raymond, a person willing to help others with all their heart. In the days that followed, Anna's family's life gradually grew brighter. Maria returned to school with a renewed spirit, and Anna began her new job in the factory office. The previous rumors disappeared, replaced by admiration from colleagues and neighbors. One afternoon, when Maria came home, she proudly held up a piece of paper. Mom, I got the highest score in my math test today. Anna hugged her daughter, a radiant smile on her face. I'm so proud of you, Maria. Keep working hard, because your future will be even brighter. Maria nodded, determination shining in her eyes. In her mind, the image of Mr. Raymond remained a powerful source of motivation. She believed that with his support and her mother's love, nothing was impossible. The following afternoon, a special announcement was sent to all the factory workers. They were invited to attend a brief ceremony at the end of the day, and everyone was curious about the reason. When the time came, they gathered in the assembly hall, where a small stage had been set up. Mr. Raymond stepped onto the stage, with Maria and Anna standing beside him. He looked around the room, his expression filled with emotion. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his deep, warm voice echoing through the hall, today I want to share a story about kindness and compassion. This young girl, Maria, taught me an invaluable lesson. While I was disguised as a beggar to observe the factory, Maria was the only one who stopped to help me. She didn't know who I was, yet she acted with a sincere heart. The hall fell silent, save for murmurs of astonishment. Maria stood next to her mother, her cheeks flushed with shyness but her eyes shining brightly. Her kindness moved me deeply, and I want to thank Maria for that, Mr. Raymond said, bending down to look at her. Maria, you reminded me that kindness is the greatest strength. Thank you, little angel. Thunderous applause filled the hall, and Maria smiled brightly. Mr. Raymond handed her a bouquet of flowers. The ceremony ended in a warm and joyful atmosphere. As people left, they couldn't stop talking about Maria's story and the positive changes in the factory. That evening, as Maria and her mother sat at the dinner table, they laughed and shared happy moments. The small house no longer felt heavy with despair but instead radiated hope and joy. Maria looked at her mother, her eyes sparkling. Mom, I'm so happy everything turned out well. Mr. Raymond is such a good person. Yes, he is, Anna said, stroking her daughter's hair. But it's you who started it all. Without your kindness, I don't know how things would have turned out. Maria beamed, her eyes glistening. Mom, I just did what you taught me. You've always said we should help others, haven't you? That's right, my dear. And you've made me so proud, Anna said, holding her daughter close. In that moment, they knew the storm had passed, and a new chapter full of hope awaited them. Maria's story reminds us that kindness and compassion can create profound changes in life. Sometimes, small acts of generosity, like helping a stranger, can lead to unexpected outcomes. Sincerity not only touches others' hearts but also spreads positive values within the community. Even in the face of hardship or misunderstanding, kindness is always worth preserving. Most importantly, we learn that every good deed holds the power to transform lives for the better.